Keith? Yeah.
It's all yours now, Jeff.
Well, it's all ours. I don't let's see who we got.
I gotta go. I'm listening in the dark. J-Bob,
Yeah.
everybody. I'm listening.
Yeah. Yeah, anything came up with was that effort and grace all right?
That was tremendous. And you know what's interesting is that subject of completeness. There's someone here tonight who was back chatting me that was exactly what he was thinking about, and I mentioned that almost the entire effort and grace was about completeness.
Yeah.
And that's what Dr. Kenmore said to Eric, right, Jeff? That you're telling the story the other day.
Yeah.
That Jeff, Dr. Kenmore came to and spoke to Eric about, and he said, completeness. That's how they feel when they were with Baba. The sense of being complete. That they don't need anything else. That's it.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful, and that's someone was me actually. I was feeling Bob was driving him completeness to me this evening and tonight, and I didn't even realize you guys spoke about that in effort and grace. I had other things I was doing tonight, but wow, that's amazing how Bob could drive things in your mind, and I can't wait to watch it.
Yeah, and completeness. The difficult thing about completeness, you have to even be able to feel complete in the midst of suffering. It's not like
so
you feel complete when you're feeling great.
Yes.
It's really about feeling whole, which means you take in the whole spectrum of what's in your consciousness, and you're not inclined to escape it into the past or into the future, into drink, into whatever you can do to escape. So, but in spite of all that suffering, the lack of sleep and the exhaustion, the little food, they felt complete when they were physically with Baba, and then after Baba dropped his body, they still had that completeness, that feeling of completeness. It's not an exalted state. I mean, in the sense it's not like a blissful state. It's a kind of a knowing.
It's not a blissful state?
It could be a blissful state, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. If you're in great suffering, Go ahead.
How do you get to that state, or what's good reminders to get to that? Just think of Baba like more and more, or repeat his name. Like what do you suggest?
Well, I mean, definitely the more you think of Baba, the more Baba is completeness, you might say.
Yes.
The embodiment. So the more you tune into Baba, the more you're going to feel complete. But also, I mean, I feel that you have to get into the present and energetically in the present, not energetically in the future or the past. You can plan your future, but not get energetically in the future.
Okay.
Like, for example, if you've got a root canal that's coming up on Friday, no, two root canals. That you can stay in the present with that, but if you're worried about this root canals, then you're not entirely in the present. You're energetically in the future.
Yes.
And once you're energetic in the future, you're not complete.
Yes, that makes sense.
Or if 2 years ago was when you were really happy and enjoying life, and you're feeling miserable now because of the pandemic, then if you're energetically in the past, you're not in the present, so you're incomplete. So you know what I mean? So it's a matter of being energetically leaving this moment.
Yeah, being fully in the present moment, with
being
your
in the presence.
with your is the presence, you know.
Yeah.
Is the,
Like what,
the word, I think it is presence.
Yeah.
You know, you're totally present. So your presence is there, no matter what, you know, no matter what's the circumstances. No matter
Yeah.
what's the circumstance, no matter what you're going through, no matter if you have 3 root canals on Friday.
4.
or
Be-
or you don't suffer for anticipation with the root canal. If you're going to suffer, you just leave it alone. You're going to suffer on Friday in the doctor, in the dentist chair. Then
still
you're going to be completely, totally present with the pain.
Yeah.
Be present with the pain, yes.
Yeah. But what I don't quite understand is when you have dentures, do you have root canals?
Thanks,
So then you know, then you're beyond the root canal.
Yeah.
You pass, you don't need root canal anymore. Then you're happy.
But really, I mean, I remember one time I was in a great period of suffering, and I went to Merwan and I kind of explained my situation, and he said, endure, endure, endure. I mean, to be whole, you have to be able to endure a tremendous amount of emotional suffering,
Yeah.
mental suffering.
Uh,
But then you don't surrender the wholeness. You keep the wholeness, but you also get stuck with the suffering.
Yeah. Right.
Whereas if you go and go to a bar and get drunk, you might leave the suffering, but then you're not whole. You know.
Yeah.
This kind
And then I guess the suffering leaves after a while, once you're complete.
well, once you realize, but I don't. Up until then, I don't know.
So that's what Eckhart Tolle. No, you know that author of the
Power of
present
Now.
moment. What's the yeah?
Power of
He
Now.
say that the power of now. Yeah, he say that if you fight, you stuck.
Yeah.
You know, if you fight with the situation, then you stuck. Then you're there and you can't get out.
Yeah.
If you go beyond that, you know, you be in the present, you're totally present, you transcend the pain. You know, if you really feel the pain, you feel at the max that you can, you know, just sit there and let it be, let it happen. Don't try to escape anywhere, you know, with whatever it is, you know, thinking about something else, watching TV or, you know, drugs or whatever, drinking, anything. You just stick with the pain. He said, if you fight, don't fight. If you fight, you stuck. If you fight, then you're never going to get out of that. So if you don't fight, you just transcend. You go beyond, you know, beyond that, you know, and then the light, you know, the presence will dissipate your pain. You know, the pain is going to go away somehow. Because you are somewhere else.
Jeff,
you know?
Yeah.
so Jeff, as you were saying about this pain, and supposing you like Friday adventure, the root canal appointment, and you're not going to think about it. But there are times when, like, supposing I'm just throwing these examples, like giving an exam, or you have to meet somebody, you have to have you're going to have a tough discussion with some person, or it's a meeting or something, and that is scheduled for Friday, and then you all the time have to prepare for it. It might just be like an interview or something, or anything that you really require a lot of preparation for that one moment. It might even be like a sports person who just has an event on Friday, and then you have to really build up and live to that moment. Like that moment is kind of like a turning point, or it's going to be a very important. It can be a crucial, like even a pending case for a lawyer. So in that sense, during that time, one has to really live for that moment, right? Means that moment when it is going to come, you really need to be preparing for that moment.
But you can be absorbed in the present with preparation for something in the future. Without, in other words, suppose you get so involved in this in the preparation, You get so far into the present that before you know it, the day has arrived. It's if you're wholehearted about something, you're in the present with it, even if it's a future event you're preparing for. Like you're learning how to play the piano, and you learn the chords, the chords and the melodies and everything like that. You're absorbed in the process, in the present, and there's going to be a future goal that you'll be able to play, proficiently, but you're really primarily energetically in the present with it. You follow? Now, if you're worried about that job interview you have on Friday, well, Peter's getting his root canal work done. If you're worried about it, then you're taking away from your wholeheartedness in the present. The worry is stealing your energy.
Because it's like a sportsman. Supposing he has a match on Friday, and he's all the while just meditating about that event, because that's going to be like a turning point in his career or something like that, and they just live for that one moment.
You say
it just might be
a tennis match?
A tennis match or a 100-meter race or something like that. Yeah. So for him, that 100.
Well, I would say the ones who do the best are the ones who get in and practice and get in shape, but they get so far into the practice that they are ready when the time comes. You can kind of know when you are in the future and with something and when you're in the present with something. It's a qualitative difference. And that's valuable to note, to perceive, discern in yourself. But it's funny. I'd say to Bal Kalchuri, do you ever prepare for these talks? Do you ever write an outline or anything? He said, no, I just go out and talk about Bob. So what? Eventually, you get like that. You don't even prepare, but that's down the road a ways for us.
He was a talking machine, like somebody said.
Yeah.
And actually, I thought I'll share something about completeness. And I heard somebody in the Effort and Grace meeting say that being thankful, being grateful, and for everything that you have it gives you a sense of completeness, basically. So, I immediately remember Don Euchre. I'm sure you all know. Don would always say, "Thank you, Baba, continuously. Whenever he would, I saw him only Northeast gathering pretty often. And I never saw him without saying, "Thank you, Baba, thank you, Baba, thank you, Baba." So, so that also would help in the process of being complete, I guess. Because at least it gives you a sense of fulfillment that I don't need anything more.
Yeah. When you're grateful, when you're really grateful for anything, for everything you got,
Right.
You feel complete because you're grateful for anything, You wash your dishes, you're grateful for the water, you're grateful for the dishes to wash, You're grateful for the food that we ate before and you have dishes to wash.
Yeah. It's funny. It can happen in most silliest of the circumstances. When I have a bath in the morning, somehow my mind goes to those people back in India where there are slums and everything. These people, to have a bath can be a pretty arduous task, and they may not have that privilege. And I feel so blessed, and I thank Baba right then and there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Being grateful is the fastest way to raise your vibration,
Yeah, Mara said, if you were to thank Baba for all that he's done for you, your whole life wouldn't be long enough.
Wow. Wow.
I mean, if we knew, but you know, Ganesh, you've heard this before, I think, but I said I quoted Baba saying, live more and more in the present, which is ever beautiful and stretches away beyond the limits of the past and the future. And I said,
Yeah.
Marwan, what does that mean to you? And he said, you will only find Baba in the present. You won't find him in the past or the future. He said, people spend so much time thinking about the past and the future, and they let him slip away right in front of them.
Right.
So it's possible to get everything done without leaving the present. I mean, it is possible, but you have to work up to it. Or after you retire, you can actually luxuriate in it.
No, actually, it is possible. I mean, if you mentally figure out, if you condense time, I mean, as if everything is happening, whatever happened is happening now. Whatever is going to happen is whatever is going to happen is happening now. Sort of, you just condense the time and then boom. So you're right there. I mean, I tried once. Once I had that kind of feeling. Basically, I mean, just condense your time. So you're there when God was in the form of Rama, then Krishna, and I mean, you've been always there with him. So that kind of feeling can help.
I mean, Ganesh, just imagine this at the beginning of creation. You know when that happened?
Oh,
It happened right now.
Yeah.
And the end of creation.
no.
It's happening now, right now.
Just finished. No, I mean, it's true. I mean, have you ever been able to get out of the present moment?
No.
I know we stuck because, you know, the past is gone.
Yeah.
You know, it's over. Forget about
Well-
it. You know what happened. The future is not there yet. It's not here yet. So when you get to the future, it's going to be the present. You know, so we're stuck in the present. There's nowhere to go.
Yeah. And
unless you go in your mind. The problem is with the mind. You know, the mind is going from the mind takes you all over the place.
Yeah.
So you need to learn to discipline your mind to be here, you know. Then that's it.
Yeah.
Easy peasy.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said earlier, consciousness has to get unplugged from looking through the lens of the mind.
Yeah.
Once that happens, you're not in the mind creates time and space. If consciousness can get uncoupled from looking through the lens of the mind, then you are more in a timeless, spaceless realm.
Right.
You know, and you think, oh, how can you not just look through the mind? But it's possible to unplug the consciousness from the mind and bring it down to the heart. And then you have to eventually unplug from the heart. But the first step is to get this is what Erich told me, get your consciousness permanently established in the heart.
Yeah.
You know what
Jeff,
like at work, it's like something like you have something to be completed by Friday, and you just all the energy, attention, everything goes into that. Okay, I have to get this done, and you're just living to once that Friday evening I just submit this, I'm like, okay, that relieves me of that situation. Now I'm caught up in this, and that's how it happens at work for us.
But when you're preparing from something that's gonna happen Friday, you're preparing in the present.
Yes, not preparing, but you have to complete a work by Friday, and that's a whole lot of work.
Exactly. You complete in the present. You have to do something that you have to bring over Friday. Every moment you do that, moment by moment, and then Friday is going to be there and it's going to be ready,
But if you took worry out of the equation,
yeah,
it would be different. It's that worry, the mental worry, that's creating this dreaded deadline, right?
Well, Baba said, don't worry.
Yeah, but isn't that, isn't it? If the worry were absent, you could kind of go. You would still continue the work, and Friday would come.
Yeah.
But adding worry into the mix. I mean, I'm not saying. I mean, I have to deal with that same thing.
Yeah.
But if you get the worry out of it, then Friday would come and you would have gotten the work done just as much as if you had been worrying and working. But how to take worry out of it now, that's the thing. How do you get worry out of the work situation?
But some positive worry is important because that gives you a sense of responsibility, and you start hastening the process, and then and just like Ganesh said, to meet the deadline. So I mean, some sort of a sense of responsibility creeps in once you have a little bit of, I wouldn't say worry, but a worry in the sense which is positive, that I have to do this.
Concern or
to take on the responsibility. That kind of thinking will help.
Yeah.
I mean,
what I try to do as I'm going along is just keep giving the worry to Baba as it comes up, rather than using the worry to prepare. I use the worry and give it to Baba and continue preparing. I mean, what you're up against, Ganesh, is, wow. I mean, almost every job situation is, people are facing what you're up against.
Yes.
Except at the Mayor Center, there's not too much of a deadline.
But what just Prakash said, yes, that positive concern, that is like means that concern really pushes you to do things. Like, I just found that concern and worry to be like, there's a small what you call thin line. Thin line between that concern and that worry part. Otherwise it's like I just like, okay, whatever has to happen, let it happen. I'll just do what I can, and obviously that might just not finish the work. That little more concern might help to finish the work.
But I think we have an inborn sense of responsibility that's there, which is independent of the worry. In sense, a sense of responsibility to try to bring something to completion on a worldly level, to finish a painting that you start or a poem that you began, to finish it. There's something in us that likes to complete things. But the worry is, I don't know, it might be interesting to just give the worry as it comes up. I don't know if the worry contributes to the deadline on Friday. I mean,
Baba said worry has never done any good. So I don't know how.
No, I think worry that stems from perpetuating our ego. I mean, to say, oh shit, if I don't do this, everybody will look down upon me. That kind of feeling will not help. But if the worry is to please others, I mean, and not please others, to be helpful, I mean, to give. And so you can do what that can facilitate a particular process or whatever you're trying to meet. And that is definitely a positive thing, which is easy to say sitting here, but practicing it can be some effort it takes, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So is there a difference between worry and pressure? you feel the pressure, and I'm just thinking loud. I'm just thinking loud. We
Yeah.
say we feel the pressure of the situation or whatever. So I have a pressure situation. That's what we say, and is how much is that different from worry?
Yeah. I would
I'm in
kind
a
of
pressure
say it's an
situation.
aspect of worry. I mean, it's part of the worry.
It's part of
I mean, the boss can be pressuring you. The boss can be pressuring you, but do you have to give in to the pressure? I mean, do you have to let the pressure affect you? In other words, I had a job one time where the boss was always pressuring us, but I just kind of ignored it and kind of continued doing the work. You know, I didn't go against what the boss wanted, but I didn't get all worked up by the pressure. You know, that was their thing, kind of crisis management. You know, oh, we got to hurry, we got to get this deadline. I mean, they're always pushing, but I didn't buy into that. And I think I was just as efficient as if I had been given into the pressure. I mean, I was probably more efficient in not giving into the pressure, but just doing the work. Anyway.
The boss's job is to, you know, I mean, inject a sense of urgency into the situation. And otherwise, I mean, it's possible that some people may say, oh, okay, it can wait. And that kind of sense, you know, feeling can be there in the person who actually gets things done. So the sense of urgency is what is being conveyed by the boss, which may amount to pressure, the way we see it, I guess. And but I think the boss is doing his job. I mean, because he cannot do it. His job is to just push.
So quit this job. Get another job that doesn't have so much pushing.
No, it's like
Go
going to
to the
Himalayas.
Meher Center.
Wherever you go, it'll follow you.
Get the job at the Meher Center.
Yeah.
So there is no pressure. I don't know. I haven't been working there ever, but you know, I'm just joking. I don't.
Long hours, but no pressure.
But
No, it's that's a deep deep concern. Even Merwan Jesawala, who was working for Marriagee, and he was managing the factory. Boy, he kind of wish he hadn't committed himself, because boy, he put himself under tremendous amount of pressure, and he was like an actual saint. So like I say, this is not easy. I mean, it's not easy to do that. I mean, I always marveled at Darwin Shaw, who had the talent to go to the very top of the city of Schenectady. He could have been the mayor. He could have been a representative to the Congress, because he was so gifted. But he just found a low rung on the ladder of the little job that he had at the traffic department of Schenectady, the highway department, and he just stopped there. You know, and he just enough that he could earn his living and remember Baba at the same time. And I was very surprised, because I thought, well, you should use your talents and abilities and your education and make the most of it. And here's somebody who, you know, stopped on the second rung of the ladder, you know. And so, I mean, that kind of helped me say, well, you don't, for your own life with Baba, you don't necessarily have to climb.
well, he was complete. He felt complete.
Yeah.
It was enough for him. He didn't have to prove to himself or to anybody else that he could go beyond, you know.
Yeah.
He had Baba already, you know. He got the most of it.
Yeah.
He's got the highest of the high by his side, so he didn't need to go anywhere else.
Mm.
Hey, you know, I've got something to, oh, go ahead.
Ganesh,
No, no.
what Jeff said, I'm just thinking about it. I mean, giving that worry, which or pressure, whatever you term it, as you keep doing it, you just keep giving it to Baba might actually really work. Because
Yeah,
at least
yes.
you're getting a chance to sort of give it to somebody who you really, really, really trust and who you know is everything.
Yeah.
So that, to me, I mean, I'm just thinking, I never did that in my life before, but I think it'll definitely
But I
help.
had these experiences when I had given it to Baba and things just worked.
Yep.
So it just worked. Like I was in this pressure kind of situations and I had given it to Baba and something happened which was like, which I couldn't even think of at work, and it just went through and things started becoming. So that did happen, but certain times the mind likes to be in control and then all that things happen. But yes, giving it to Baba really helps.
Yeah.
Hey, I've got a nice quote here.
Yes.
I'll read it. This is Dan Ladinsky. He's describing a scene in the late 1970s at Mehrabad. He said, I guess it was in the late 70s, Kitty Davy was seated in Mandalay Hall in a chair and looking and acting very quiet as Erich was telling his stories. Then Kitty left to go sit with Mara when Mara comes out on her porch. After a few minutes of Kitty being gone, a young woman who is in the hall and just can't leave Erich says to me, and who seems to know Kitty, she says to Erich, what do you and Kitty talk about in private? And Erich says, our truest interactions are just gazing into each other's eyes, with our eyes in wonder, saying how astoundingly, profoundly fortunate we were to have touched God, or even to have seen one movement of a limb, or even now behold a photo, or be able to speak his precious name. I'll read that last part.
Yes, please.
So Jeff, just let me understand this. This is Danny who wrote this, and he was present when this was happening. The Kitty left Mandalay Hall and went to see Mara, and then he approached Erich and asked.
A young woman asked Erich.
Oh, he was there and he heard that. Okay.
Yeah, and she asked Erich, "What do you and Kitty talk about in private?"
Okay.
He was there visiting. And Erich says, in our truest interactions, we are just gazing into each other's eyes, with our eyes in wonder, saying how astoundingly, profoundly fortunate we were to have touched God, or even to have seen one movement of a limb, or even now behold a photo, or be able to speak his precious name.
Wow.
You know, that, talk about gratitude. That's like overwhelming gratitude that they themselves had that time with God in human form. And there
Erich
they were.
knew exactly where he was,
Yeah.
Knew exactly what he was conscious of his surroundings and the importance and the greatness of being in Baba's presence, and that's great.
Now, Ganesh, here's one thing we talked about in effort and grace, and I think it's critical for this time, but even working, which is where Baba says we should be detached. in, you know, loving detachment, staying detached in the to life. But the thing is that with the way the world is today, the way the corporate world is, the way the pandemic is, the environment, all of that, it's impossible not to react.
Yes.
Our sun scars are going to react because of our conditioning. And they may react very negatively because a lot of what's happening in the world before us is a violation of our most cherished values. And we just have to suffer. Now, what I gather from Erich and Darwin is we're not going to be able to control our reactions. They are going to be there. But we can control how we view our reactions. If we view our reactions like we justify them, yeah, I should be angry here and outraged. Or Baba wants, I shouldn't be feeling anything because Baba says I should be detached and I'm all worked up about this. Both of those, or I'm not, I don't care what happens, which is really not a loving thing. All of those three scenarios pull us into identifying and getting involved with our reaction. But if we just look at our reactions and view them like a scientist, you might say, observe them without judgment, or without feeling that our reactions are good or bad, but just observe them, then we have some measure of detachment.
Yeah.
In other words, we're not reacting to our reactions. That's where we get tripped up.
Yes.
We're trying to not react, but it's going to be very hard today not to react. But at least, and even in the job, your boss is pushing you and insensitive and all of that, and you're going to react. But then, do you want to react to your reactions or just observe your reactions?
Yeah.
If you observe your reactions, they'll go through you faster. That's kind of what I experienced.
Thanks for that, Jeff.
Yeah. Eckhart Tolle called this the watcher.
Yeah.
You know, the watcher. You are like a witness.
Yeah.
You know, remove yourself from the ego reaction. You just remove yourself, and just observe this situation, and is not reacting on because all reactions are habitual patterns from the past. We create these habitual patterns that you go over again and again, and you react the same way to the different situations.
Yeah.
So it's hard, because it's like a self study. It's a self learning. You're learning about yourself, and you're learning about how to do this stuff. It's a process, of learning.
And rather than judging your reactions,
something like
hard.
this.
Huh?
Just I'm trying to put it in an example, like suppose here is somebody who is provoking you and you're irritated with this person, and you at a point comes when you burst out. Now you burst out. After that, and then later on, there should be like what happens as a human, as a you feel it, or as a Baba lover or whatever. You just feel later, I should have not reacted that strongly, or something like that. That's what many of us feel within, like later on. Okay, I should have more handled it better or something. So so you mean to say that I might have burst out in that moment, but later just watch myself rather than feeling guilty or rather than patting myself or anything. That's how I get when I put your thing into an example.
Yeah. You watch it objectively. That doesn't mean you don't apologize later. you may feel from your heart that an apology will help to kind of clear up the matter. But I don't know, I find the difference between guilt and remorse is, and guilt is when you go against your own value system. And remorse is when you realize you've gone against love. Guilt doesn't ever really, because it's a mental thing, it just keeps spinning around. It doesn't get out of your system. Remorse, you feel it deeply and you get it out of your system. You get forgiven by Baba. But
Ganesh, look it up, that book, The Power of Now. Eckhart Tolle. He's a specialist in telling us how you live in the moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
How you don't react to this,
yeah.
Habitual reactions, how you keep your, he's very deep into this. And a lot of things, is Baba stuff,
He lived next to
in
Baba.
tune with Baba. He doesn't mention Baba. He's so in tune with Baba's teachings, but he has practical things, he has, meditations that we do, or how you react, how you behave in certain situations, what do you do to get out of your ego, It's very interesting. He's very smart and very spiritual person. He was a mystic, I think he used to get all this information from he was a channel, he got, he studied with a lot of masters all over the world.
A lot of us have read Eckhart Tolle, and he's very good for the formless aspect of God.
Yeah.
Very good about that. And
exactly.
He lived next door to Baba people, so he read all of Baba for before he even became famous. Yeah. Hey, but let's see. I want to just see if Dinku, are you there?
Dinku, she's there.
Dinku, Payam, Ellie, Nasreen, we got the Arjangs here.
Jai Baba.
Hey, Payam. Yep.
Here we go. Oh, here we go. I'm cooking.
Aha.
Oh.
You go on.
What time is it there?
You want to see what I'm cooking? Here we go.
What time is it there?
Oh, what time is it there? Oh, sorry.
You're in LA, right?
8:15 at night.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
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 Jai Baba, everyone.
Hi, Dinku.
Yeah. Sorry, I keep myself muted because I'm doing work around the house, so it'll disturb you all.
Yeah. Anything that has come up in you?
Not really. It's just that this thing of guilt, I've been feeling guilty because I've been kind of busy, well, very busy, in fact. And then I suddenly realized, oh my gosh, I haven't been thinking about Baba. And, sort of that comes up occasionally. And I say, oh, sorry, forgive me. But I get so involved in whatever it is that I've been doing that I forget about, repeating Baba's name or thinking about him.
Well, if you get wholeheartedly into what you're doing, Baba is there. I mean, that's what Erich said. He can live through you when you're really absorbed in something. You're not. Self-forgetfulness is part of the self-forgetfulness combined with Baba's remembrance that's what I got from Erich.
Okay.
So, and Erich would say, suppose you were absorbed in shopping and you went out and you did shopping and you came back and you forgot Baba completely. But Erich would say, when you do remember to remember him, remember Baba.
Okay. Thank you.
But when you're absorbed in your grocery shopping, don't think that you've forgotten Baba. It's like, that's kind of what I gathered. I mean, say your mother, I don't know what your relationship with your mother was, but you don't have to go to, when you go to the grocery store, you don't have to say, oh my God, I didn't think of my mom. And the whole time I was in the grocery store, I didn't even think of her. I must not be loving her. But you already, you do love her.
Yeah.
You don't have to say, you know, up and down the aisles, mama, you know, mama, 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 you know.
Hey, Jeff, you just said something about self-forgetfulness with remembrance.
Yeah.
Is that?
Instead of going mama, 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 you go baba, baba, baba.
Yeah. Yep.
So how does that happen? Forgetfulness with remembrance.
Well, I mean, I think I've told you this before. Well, maybe you weren't there, but you know, back in the mid 70s, I was working as a house painter, and here in Myrtle Beach, and I was back then I was a Baba remembrance machine, and I would just with every brush stroke, you know, or sanding stroke, it was just Baba, 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 you know, and I would just do that the whole day at work, everything, you know, just inwardly saying Baba's name. And then after about 6 months, the guy I worked with and we went to India, and we were with Erich outside Mandalay Hall, and my friend says, you know, Erich, I work as a house painter, and hours go by, I've completely forgotten Baba. I haven't thought of Baba at all. This is the most important thing in my existence, and hours go by, I haven't even remembered Baba. What can I do about that? And Erich said, he said, in the beginning, it's important to remember Baba, to read his works, to say his name, to see the movies, to go to the places where Baba's been. But in time, it becomes important to forget yourself. When you forget yourself, Baba can live through you, even if you're not aware of it. And so for me, that was a turning point for me, because my remembering Bob all the time and saying his name made me kind of rigid and kind of in a bubble with this thing. So Erich, I'm sure, said that for my benefit. And after that, you know, I'd go and play volleyball. I get into the game, and then afterwards, as I was walking off the court, you know, I'll remember Baba and just say Baba's name and remember him. So Erich would say, when you do remember to remember him. But self-forgetfulness and Baba remembrance make a nice, healthy, complementary back and forth. Because I asked Margaret Crass dancers, who were many of them devoted to Baba, if they thought of Baba in the middle of these famous performances. And they said they all tried that, but it didn't work to remember Baba in the performance. They would remember Baba before they went out to dance. They would dance and get into it one-pointedly, and they would remember Baba after the dance. Does that make sense, though?
Yeah, definitely.
You know, I tell you, it's an invaluable way to live, so that you can, the things that you think are not, you're being taken away from Baba and you're not remembering Baba, he's actually can live through you. You're just not aware of it.
Now, back in the day, I remember when we were kids, we never had this computer examination. So you all have to write down on sheets and sheets of paper. And before we start the exam, I mean, the test, we would simply write Jai Baba on top and then keep going.
Yeah.
I certainly remember that. Nowadays, I don't think you'll get that chance because it's all computerized and everything. But in the days when we used to actually jot stuff down,
yeah,
the examiners wouldn't mind if you write something like Jai Baba, or some people would write Sai Baba and stuff like that.
Yeah. You get a better grade if you know, acknowledge the divine.
Yeah.
This guy's obviously an atheist, so I'm going to give him a lower grade. There's no master.
Yeah, I very clearly remember we used to do that.
Yeah. No, that's Erich saved me from I got a lot of my spontaneity and fun lovingness back when I got out of that constant remembrance of the type that I was doing, you know.
Okay, guys, I gotta go.
You got to go.
My
Okay.
bedtime.
Okay, Lenita.
Okay,
Jeff-
good to talk to you.
Yeah.
Jeff,
Jai
I
Baba.
heard your
Jai Baba. Yeah.
Jai Baba,
Huh?
Anita. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. Jai Baba Ganesh.
Jai Baba Lanita.
Okay.
Jai Baba.
Yeah,
Good night.
Baba Lanita.
Good night.
Yes, you're not coming back until Tuesday, right?
Tuesday. Yeah.
Tuesday and Sundays?
Yeah.
That's not gonna change.
Well, no, I think that they're kind of a little bit interested in someone from the center, you know, kind of a live, you know, not just a weekly, pre-recorded thing, but you can actually talk to somebody in the present time. So
Okay,
we'll see.
good.
It might make
We'll
it
see.
official. We'll see.
Mm.
That's good.
Great, wow.
We'll see, Baba.
right.
Baba has. Yep. See you, Lenita. Yeah.
Jai Baba.
See you soon. Okay, bye-bye. Jai
Yeah.
Baba,
Things
everybody.
will change, right, Jeff?
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah,
Jai
because
Baba.
this has to continue.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Have we got any other questions? Payam, what you got? Oh, you're cooking. We got Peter, who's worried about his root canals on Friday.
Well, I'm here, but I'm drunk. But are you guys with me? Yeah, with the reception, can?
Hello? Yeah.
Jeff, there
Oh,
is
I might have lost you. Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, Payam, please continue.
Sorry, Ganesh. Yes.
No, Payam, you continue. I'll
Okay. I might get disconnected. We'll see. You know, everything you're all sharing, I go through constantly, you know, reflecting, oh, I forgot Baba, or I raised my voice, I shouldn't have raised my voice. Oh, I have this deadline, Baba, should I do this one first or the other one first? Both of them are due, you know. But I've learned too over time, just talking to Baba about everything.
Yeah.
And so then I'm seeing it more and more, and I don't know if it's coinciding with all these Zoom sessions and talking about Baba, but I'm starting to not have as much, I don't know, you can call it worry or angst. That tension is getting a little less. So even though I may have a deadline, I just say, okay, Baba, help me to get through it. So at least saying that helps me a little bit more.
Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah. And Baba loves to be a part of these things. You think, what does God want to do about all this little petty worldly stuff? Baba is so unbelievable. He loves all these little details of our lives.
Yes.
Really.
Actually, yeah, Don Stevens told me that one time. He said that he has a conversation with God at night, and actually Baba, I think, asked him to do this even when Baba was in the body, that at night he would tell him all the things that happened in the day. Just like a little report to Baba.
Yeah. No, yeah. Like Mani used to say, you know, you got to see things through Baba's eyes. He has a heart. He loves to hear from us. You know, just like little kids bring a picture that they've drawn to their mom. You know, it's just a scribble. You can't even hardly tell what it is. But you know what that it means to the mother, you know.
Yeah.
Baba's like that. I feel that's, yeah. So Ganesh, you had
My just question came from like when Danita was saying that the power of now, the book. See, a lot of times I generally stick to the Baba books, and there are books by a lot of these people, the modern age gurus, and a lot of these old saints and everything. And certain times, there certain thoughts of them might just because they're not at the level of Baba, where Baba is the God man, and these are still like on their journey, or we don't know, we can't even gauge them where they are, and certain things they might say might just keep confusing us with what Baba has said. So I generally avoid those type of books. And I mean certain things when I don't know which books, like is it good avoiding those books, or we read through those just for reading, or how is it? Because I know for sure certain people have this way of putting things which are much different to what Baba says, and you just don't want to confuse yourself.
Well, I think your intuition will be able to tell what has the right ring and what doesn't quite have the right ring. You know, but I did find Eckhart Tolle very good about how to stay in the present moment. And you know, just like if you got in an accident, you're going to put yourself in the hands of a physical therapist to get your body going back. Some of these people have very good suggestions. Like if you're an artist, there are certain people that have written about how to unlock your creativity. Now you can go directly to Baba with that, but sometimes there are these people that can that speak your language and your vocabulary and can help you. But you just see whether it works for you. I like the sayings of a lot of the Sufi masters, some of their metaphor and everything. It encapsulates some of these truths in just great metaphors. But you just find out whether it seems to be taking away from your focus on Baba or whether it's enhancing your focus on Baba. I found that it's broadened my understanding of Baba. Yeah.
It's like if it's a Rumi or a Sham setup busy, we don't we wouldn't even mind it, and it's really they're helpful because Baba himself told they were the perfect masters or the realized ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, and certain times it just becomes like this person is saying all this, but we don't know at what level he is in and what he might so just certain times I avoid like saying that, okay, it just might confuse me and I don't want to get into that.
Yeah.
Let me see what Baba has to say in that.
Yeah. Yeah, if you find that it confuses you or and doesn't clarify, then it might not be your time to read some of those people. But I haven't had a problem with that.
I like them too. Some of the books are beautiful, but I think I see Ganesh's point. Maybe books by Upasani and Sai Baba and Tajuddin and a few like Ram Krishna and all these people would definitely help, obviously, right? Because they're all God realized. But even others, other books that people have who we think are probably not up there would help because they're now talking at a level we are working at. So, I mean, that struggle you'll realize, and then you'll probably see value in trying to, read those and then move on to higher levels of being, I guess.
Yeah.
But Jeff is right. I mean, if you sense that it really strikes a chord in you, and that's it. That's the one.
Yeah, I think yes. Yes, what Jeff said is an important point of intuition. If it strikes and it goes with you, then it's okay.
Good about it, yeah.
I mean, a lot of this is, relying on your intuition. Does this have the right ring? Is it inspiring me? If it doesn't inspire you, it might not be good for you, but it might inspire me. the same thing.
You know, I mean, on Sundays, I used to listen to this guy. I mean, forget his name suddenly. I don't know why. He's from one of the churches in the Texas, sorry, in Houston. Oh, he's very famous. He is. I mean, he comes on Fox Channel or something. Jeff, you might, I'm sure you know the name, but it's just not coming to me right now. But he's a very motivational speaker. I mean, you just want to listen to him. And I would listen to him. I mean, I forget his name.
Osteen? No.
Oh, Joel Osteen. Yeah, Joel Osteen. Yes, Joel
Yeah.
Osteen. He was a very motivational speaker. I mean, you know, if you're down in the dumps, just turn it on and then listen to him, and you feel good about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I used to like some of his programs. Yeah. I never bought his books, but I would just love to listen to him.
Yeah, a lot of the sparks of Baba's truth land in a lot of people, musicians, philosophers, artists, you know. It's even though they don't have a steady version of it like Baba does, they're, you know, a painting or a poem may have come from a level of inspiration, and you read it and it uplifts you. Even though the rest of the poems may not do it, but a particular poem.
Yeah.
And it basically you're kind of cherry picking creation for the things that inspire you. A piece of music, you know, Rembrandt maybe, or the Impressionist painters.
Right.
A garden, a beautiful garden. There are so many things. There's a line from Hafiz where he says, God courts us with the beauty of the world. So anywhere the beauty is, we're being drawn into the divine, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel so much at peace and, I don't know, uplifted whenever I'm out of the city and, you know, say at a friend's farm or somewhere where I'm amidst nature. And to me, that is the best place to be, because I just feel one with everything.
Yeah. And that nature is not on any of the planes, isn't even God realized. You know, you get it wherever, whatever uplifts you and keeps you alive and inspired. It's I don't hesitate to entertain it. Yeah.
Jeff, just a question. I've been wondering, is Pete Townsend still very much into Baba?
I think so. You know, I think so. He and people have seen him here and there, and he's always very gracious.
Yeah,
when
he does.
Baba is mentioned.
Yeah, he is a lot into Baba, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I know he was, but we haven't heard from him or about anything about him for quite a while.
He's been singing and that, you know, here and there. I know when Delia de Leon, he was close with Delia de Leon, one of the English women Mandali, and she sent a copy of the Rolling Stones, I think it was, to Baba. It had the Who on the cover of it.
Uh-huh.
And Baba pointed to Pete Townsend and said, "He's mine."
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, you know, of course, it's a rough life. You know, you're exposed to a lot of temptations and everything, but he's always been very frank and open about his life and the struggles that he's had with Baba.
He is very frank. That's right.
Yeah.
His language can sometimes can be a little difficult to swallow, but that's what it is.
Yeah. What did Mark Twain say? Sometimes profanity.
Baba said he's mine. Did Pete Townsend come to Baba's fold that time, or he came much later?
Right at that same, he was, I think, already devoted to Baba. that's what inspired Delia to send I think it might have been a Rolling Stone magazine.
Yes,
I
the
was
Rolling
saying,
Stone.
Mark Twain said, sometimes profanity brings as much relief as prayer. Yeah. Hey, well, we should see if we can get Jake and Alan. You know, you got to keep kind of
Yeah,
encourage.
what happened to Alan? I don't see him these days. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah. Alan had some, like, he had to take care of his mom and all that. He
Well,
was
then,
there last time, so like last time when you weren't there, he was there. So and I know we spoke a lot, and he loves to come here. I don't know what happens. Probably he forgot, or he might just be busy. Either of
well,
the
his
two.
mother had that appendectomy, right? So
Yes.
so he's, you know, I'm sure he has his hands full on top of his job, you know.
yeah, Jake would be tough to get because of school. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
cannot
I
hang
saw
out.
him earlier, but yeah.
You know, Prakash, yeah, last night for us, when we were listening to Raj Kildani,
Yeah,
and he was talking about that physics thing, and I thought about Jake. I said, because he's a physics teacher, right?
Yeah.
High school. I was like, he would probably, have been interested in that talk.
yeah.
Yeah. I'll mention it to him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll
Okay.
send him an email.
Somebody by name Matt Kelly was interested.
Okay. Yeah, Matt. Yeah.
Yeah. He wanted to get in touch with him on a private level, at a private level, to talk more about physics and artificial intelligence and every other thing that as connected with Baba. But Raj's talk was good. I mean, they lived in Kushru quarters for 4.5 years, and he had a lot of things to share. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
nice.
I wish I had been there.
Yeah,
When are you going to put it up on the?
not me. I mean, Angela does that, but it should be out soon because there's not much editing. So she would put it just like that. I think
Okay.
Robin also helps. Robin helps, I believe. Robin.
Yeah, because I missed a lot of it in between, So I'd like to listen to the whole thing again.
Hey Jeff,
Yeah.
does his brother Vinod, is he the one? Can he also share? I mean, or he is not?
No, he can share. Vinod is in touch with me, so if you want, I can contact him.
Yeah, please, if you can.
Yeah, he has a lot. Yeah.
Vinod is a little shyer than his brother.
All right.
But he does talk about his times with Baba. He's Raj's older brother.
Mm-hmm.
And he spoke at the Hyderabad Center recently.
Oh, good.
Yeah. On a Sunday. Sundays I missed because it's
yeah, but that time it went off in between because of poor connectivity and all that. So from Hyderabad he was speaking.
Yeah.
Jeff, one thing, just going back to the worry topic, this reminds, Darwin Shaw in his book, Effort and Grace, says that we are programming our experiences and we are the ones who attract worry. Worry is something that we attract for ourselves because he says we program our subconscious only, and we program our experiences, and in that we attract worry.
Yeah.
So he makes a statement like that in his book, Effort and Grace.
Yeah. And we think something lousy is going to happen, and then life creates something that we have to worry about. I mean, we program. I mean, if we have a negative imagination, we'll think something is going to happen. This job is going to be terrible, and then we're actually unconsciously programming that it will terrible things that happen in work. It doesn't necessarily always have to be that way, but we have to be careful of programming, especially anything of a negative nature.
And I heard once I video saying whatever you fear, you attract that same thing.
Yeah.
That was one of the tapes I was hearing of videos, and where she says that whatever you fear, you're going to attract that.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, that's why I think it's good to be proactive and give your fear as much as you can, as you feel it, to Baba, so that it doesn't have to play out in life. In other words, you give all your worries to Baba as much as you can, and then the worries don't have to play out in your actual life.
I guess that applies to everything, because the more power we give to anything, the more you attract it.
Yeah. And like I say, if you can give these things to Baba, then they get neutralized, and then you don't have to live them out in your life.
Yeah.
I mean, because love dissolves. Baba's love dissolves anything you bring to him. But only one layer at a time. I mean, here, this is kind of only remotely kind of connected, but I think I've mentioned this before, but Aluba was supposed to carry out something for Baba, and he didn't do it properly. And he knew that he didn't do it properly. And he knew the next day when he saw Baba, Baba was going to lay into him for not carrying out the job that Baba gave him properly. So he spent the whole evening asking, in remorse, asking Baba for forgiveness, and asking for Baba for forgiveness for what he did earlier in the day. And the next day, when he was with Baba and the other mandali, Baba didn't even bring it up, because he asked for forgiveness. He programmed Baba's forgiveness, you might say, and so Baba forgave him. There was nothing Baba had to say to him the next day. So, but yeah, I know Darwin used to say to Jean, his wife, she would have kind of a negative sort of a feeling. That's not going to work. I'm not going to enjoy that. And he would say, no, Jean, now don't program that. It's the nature of the mind to program things. And then it happens and you say, yeah, I was right. My intuition was correct. But it wasn't intuition. It was programming that got projected out.
Not enjoy. I don't like it.
What's that?
Something like we keep saying, I might not enjoy that. I might not go for that. I might.
Yeah. It's life with an agenda. Ideally, it's best to not come to life with an agenda.
Yeah, today in the Effort and Grace session, Jeff.
Yeah.
Anne McAvoy had a beautiful answer for, not answer, I mean, her observation was great. And she said, all that is happening right now, I mean the problem of pandemic and the restlessness in the society and the elections and the fear of Supreme Court and everything. So, and I think her observation, if I can recall correctly, is that Baba is like destroying all the old structures and all those beliefs that we had that things should be this way, in a particular way for things to work right. So her observation is Baba is destroying all such standpoints that we may have in our minds, a majority of us maybe. And so she basically observed that he is destroying the old structures, I think. And so he can come up with a system that is more foolproof. I mean, I then immediately remembered how Baba used to do things. So before new life, he would dismantle everything, sell off everything, and then move on to this life of hopelessness and helplessness. So
Yeah, and just start anew.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can't just, it does no good to keep repairing a rundown house. Eventually, you just have to demolish the house and put up a new one.
right.
The ongoing repairs have gone beyond the limit. Yeah.
No,
We'll
because
see.
if I'm a Democrat, I have a strong feeling that the other side is not is not right. So that itself has to be destroyed. That particular thought that that these guys are the right people and not the other ones.
Yeah.
And so I guess we have to just learn to realize that even holding that thought process is also not a great idea.
Yeah, Baba compared life to playing a game of cards. Sometimes you win and sometimes you lose. You don't like to lose. You want to win, but it's just a game. And but I think we do best when we don't have an agenda in regard to life, and then try to be loving in our life. But I once asked Erich, Darwin, this. We were in the refectory, and he was about 95 at the time, sitting at the table, and there were a few of us, and I said, you might have heard me say this, but I said, Darwin, you have a lot of rare wine in your cellar. And if you die, it's just going to go to your relatives. I think we should bring it up now and enjoy it. Meaning, you have this wealth of experience. You're going to be dying in a little while. Why don't we enjoy it now? And he kind of got a laugh out of that. And he said, and I said, you have been focusing on Baba day in and day out, year in and year out, moment to moment. What is your experience now? This is how I tried to, get him to tell us. And I was very surprised. He never said anything like this before, because he never really said where he was from, where he was coming from. But this is what he said. Just as you breathe in and out all day, and you don't say, now it's time to inhale, now it's time to exhale, now it's time to inhale. He said, eventually life just unfolds. And you're not trying to get things to go this way or that. You've let go of life. And he says, what happens is consciousness is therefore freed up at the level of the world. It goes up to, this is how he described it, goes up to the level of the spirit, out to the far corners of the universe, and you live in and through everyone. That's what he said. Just as you breathe in and out all day and you don't say, now it's time to inhale, now it's time to exhale. He said, eventually life just unfolds. And you're not trying to get things to go this way or that. I'm just viewing. So consciousness is freed up now. It's not having to get things to go any which way. It goes up to the level of the spirit, out to the far corners of the universe. And you live in and through everyone. And boy, I was surprised. Wow, I'm looking over at this wizened old guy at 95 talking about that was his experience. I mean, he wouldn't say that unless that was his experience. So he had no agenda, virtually no agenda in regard to life like we do. We want things to go this way. Oh my God, they're not going this way. That guy over there is taking it that way, and we're all involved in that. That doesn't mean that you're insensitive, but you're freed up so that love can be the doer. Not your agenda is the doer, but love becomes the doer. and then you live in and through everyone. I mean, incredible.
For us at a human level, it just, I think it gets a bit challenging to go, means when life unfolds and you just have to accept everything. On a human level, I find it difficult. Like you're just thinking and you're planning it some way, and it just turns out to the other way. In those moments, it's just very challenging.
Well, see, what happens is that when you let go of what you want, then love becomes the doer. It's not like excuse me, you have to kind of picture love is then taking over. And so love goes and does this thing, love does that thing and everything, but it's not, love isn't trying to, doesn't have a heavy agenda the way our feelings and our emotions and our philosophy have, ideology. They have certain ways they want things to go. Love, that doesn't mean that love won't try to support certain things, but it's free to support those things. It's not driven to support those things by the ideology and the emotions and conditioning and everything. Basically, the sanskars aren't the ones that are pushing everything, it's love. So you're kind of freed up. When love is the doer, you're kind of freed up.
I'm still trying to get the love as the doer. I'm still trying to get that point.
Yeah. You open up to the other dimension so that it comes through and becomes the doer.
It's like you have decisions to make which unfold you and unfold life. And I mean, love as the doer, how do I make love the doer? That is something I'm still trying to understand it correctly.
Yeah.
Means you have two jobs. You have to pick up one which you can take. And how do you let love become the doer? That you weigh in things and then you pick up one job. That's what you do. But making love the doer, how do you do that?
Yeah. Love or intuition in the sense of decision making. Yeah. Well, when you give up self-interest, then what's left is love. But how do you clear out self-interest? You know, as the more self-interest you clear out, the more love, Baba's love, can become the doer. Until it eventually eclipses what you're doing.
Is self-love and self-interest the same thing?
What's
love
that?
yourself. Is self-love and self-interest the same thing? Like you.
Well, living for yourself and self-interest. I mean, self-love.
You love yourself because Baba lives in it. You take care of yourself because Baba lives in it, so you have to take proper care, because if I starve myself, even Baba is hungry. So I need to take care of myself, and that is kind of maybe self-love or whatever. And is that different from self-interest? And is it like I shouldn't be thinking of myself, and always it should be like it should be like flowing out and being for others and all that?
Well, love will make sure you eat and stay healthy. It will. Love will look after you. In fact, Baba said, love will look after the future. Don't worry, love will look after the future. Love will look after you, but that, like I say, these are surrender. These are points of surrender. If you let go of the reins you think, oh my God, if I let go of the reins, my life could go haywire. But you let go of the reins, and if love becomes the doer, then you're fine, then as Darwin says, then love takes over.
Love takes over.
But
It's still, yeah, I'm still trying to get that more clearly, and speaking loud and all that, and trying to get that love becomes the doer. Means in situations of life, let love take over. Is that what you mean? Like, let love be the response.
yeah, and it's not like you can aid in that process to let.
Now, I get you. Okay. Let me take off a situation. I just throwing these examples to get my thing. Here you have a friend whom you are being very loving to and everything, and he just starts depending on you for everything, and he's like, now in terms of your love for your friend, you are helping him. But then again, if you make love the doer, but at certain point, it's like you're exhausting yourself.
Yeah. Oddly enough, I mean, in my own case, I found that there was a mixture of good and love in there. Good will exhaust you, and love won't exhaust you in quite the same way. You're doing a good thing for your friend, but good is different from love. Good will make you hang in there longer than you should. Good will make you do more than you. Good will get. I'm speaking for myself. Good made me go through my checking account and my savings account of energy. Good is different from love, and that distinction, I think, is very critical to be made. This is what Erich was kind of bringing home to me, that good is calculated action. It comes from the sanskars, and love doesn't come from the sanskars. And it's not calculated, it's spontaneous.
But it's like spiritual and moral life, I guess. I mean, pretty much.
It's love is actually very rare for it to happen. But it goes on increasing. It goes on becoming more and more the doer.
That is a difference between love and.
Yeah. In other words, if this relationship is getting kind of complicated with this person, real complicated, then there's good is in the picture somehow. Because if it was just love, your intuition would protect you. It would know when you're giving too much. It would know when to stop. It knows those things. But good is a bit blind. It gets committed to things, and then it makes commitments somehow, not necessarily verbal, but makes emotional commitments, and then it's hard to pull out. I don't know if you can see that, but it's a very subtle area. I mean, I would say my first 10 trips to India, where I had to do, Baba had me under a microscope looking at the difference between good and love. They are almost indistinguishable, but yet the distinction is invaluable in your inner life.
Means I'm still trying to get out to discuss how to differentiate between good and love. So, where is the, like, here you are helping somebody, but is it out of goodness or is it out of love? How do I differentiate that?
I think Ganesh, I'm not sure, but you guys can listen to what I say. the thing is, good is, out of, it obviously stems from some sort of love that you have for the person and then you do it. But then I think the love that Jeff and we're all talking about here, it also does do good, but then the hope is that the person becomes independent and learns to live and do things on his own. Otherwise, you're establishing a dependency which may not last and cannot be sustained. When it is love, you want him to be independent and be himself and be able to, resolve things by himself. And that may sound cruel because it doesn't look good, but then that's probably the real solution there to avoid the dependency.
There's a line from Victor Hugo, the French novelist, where he says, virtue or good, virtue, as in the case of vice, is a calculated action. But love is not calculated. It wells up in the heart and expresses itself spontaneously. Sometimes someone would say, Eric, should I do this or should I do that? What would be more pleasing to Baba, this or that? And Eric would say, love would never ask that question.
So it's like, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. So it's like love is selfless, totally selfless, but good would have a sort of a degree of selfish, a motivation for whatever it is that you're doing. Is that right?
Yeah, and good is good. Good is not bad. I mean,
yeah,
good is better.
I know.
Yeah. Uh-oh, where did she go? We lost her.
That's not good.
But no, I mean, I shouldn't denigrate good, because good, Baba said you go from bad to good to God.
Good to God.
You go from bad to good to love. So good is good up to a certain point. Erich told me, Jeff, the accumulation of virtue is not the goal. He told me.
Yeah,
virtue or good are the training wheels on your bike until you know how to ride your bike. When love can, you don't want to, once you are in touch with love, then you don't need the training wheels anymore. Once intuition is awakened, once spontaneity is awakened. But I mean, we're talking about, this is not intellectual. These are experiential places within us. The flow of love is, the vibration of love is quite different from the vibration of good. I mean, worlds of difference, but it's like, it would be like, I was trying to distinction between a diamond and a crystal. You have to be a jeweler to know the difference. And we will have to be, that distinction is critical. I mean, Baba talks about it. I mean, good is iron, gold chains, bad is iron chains, and love is liberating. No chains at all.
Love is liberating.
Okay, we got Dinku back though. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I keep losing my connection.
Yeah.
So I didn't hear the whole thing that you were talking about, Jeff.
Well, you want to know about like good and love, the difference between good and love.
Yeah, as what I thought that love would be selfless and good would have a sort of a motivational thing behind it.
Yeah. It's got a little bit of self in there. That's why I was saying it has a little bit of self-interest in there. Whereas whereas love doesn't actually have self-interest, it just expresses itself. It doesn't have a motive.
So it's spontaneous.
It's spontaneous.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that we can't be open to that. It's coming in, it's coming through. Sometimes, you know, it has difficulties coming through when we've got a whole attitude built up about something. Then the love has a hard time getting through.
Yeah.
You have
That's
a
true.
kind of a negative feeling towards somebody, and you got a whole lot of associations up there in your mind, and love has a hard time getting through.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, we all.
Yeah.
But behind it all, all of this is love, a great ocean of love. And we're actually treading water in this ocean. You know, we really are there, but it's hard to open up. So it's you have to roll down the windows of your or whatever. You have to let your boat get capsized. What did Rumi said? Love is the last 25 pound bale. When you load it on, the boat tips over. You know, there you are, you're on the gangplank and you're, you know, like that, and you put it, the whole thing tips over.
Speaking of books,
oh, Nasreen, yeah.
Jeff, could you repeat that, please?
Okay, yeah. Love is the last, this is Rumi. Love is the last 30-pound bale, B-A-L-E, bale. When you load it on, the boat tips over.
Boat tips over, okay.
So your whole boat capsizes. Basically, your ego capsizes. Who you are capsizes, and you are you are drowned in the ocean.
I wish it was the ocean of love.
Yeah, that's what it is. When the ego is finally
Good is a quality and love is real.
Yeah, love is and see love there are many streams of love that I think are important, what are called the divine qualities, as opposed to emotional or feeling qualities. The divine qualities are like empathy, humor, generosity, kindness, compassion. Those are not emotions. They are just love pouring into us from at the deepest level.
Oh, that's true.
And to experience them, and even like Darwin says, if you can dwell continuously in those divine qualities, being aware of them, you are right next to your soul. You are right next to Baba. Those qualities flow from Baba.
Yes.
And let's see, what are the other ones? You know, creativity, beauty, purity, those are all those divine qualities. And they are us. It's not like they have to be developed. They're already there. We just have to unlock them. Yeah. Go ahead, Nasreen.
Yeah, I just, just had this question and you explain it, so I understand.
Good. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So Ganesh, when you say love becomes the doer, humor becomes the doer, courage becomes the doer, generosity becomes the doer, empathy becomes the doer. When it breaks down to all of those, any one of those qualities is love becoming the doer.
Mm.
Forgiveness is a divine quality. It's not like an emotion. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a hard one.
Yeah. But it's a divine, it's an intervention by the divine.
That's right. That is
What
true.
about honesty?
Honesty is one of the divine qualities, but not worldly honesty. Worldly honesty and spiritual honesty can sometimes be different. Worldly honesty may actually be hurtful. And Baba said, the truth is that which uplifts. Whatever crushes another person cannot be true. So if you say something about somebody that's true from the worldly sense, but it crushes their heart, then that wasn't honest. Even though in the worldly sense it was honest. You could say to somebody, "Oh, your voice is terrible when you sing." Now that might be true. But boy, you can crush somebody's heart, and they may never want to sing again. So that's worldly honesty, but divine honesty would try to encourage them to keep singing until they get better.
Yes.
Yeah.
There is
But
no
then
bad.
what?
There is no bad.
What's that?
There is no bad. Nothing is bad. It's a.
Yeah.
It's a. I don't know how to explain. It's a degree of good.
Yeah.
Here is that famous, I think the story was given by Baba in discourses that beyond the quality, like the good and bad, it's about this, like there is an honest man, and like there is this good man who is convicted of something, but he is innocent. And you know that he is innocent. Now there is this courtroom trial, and every evidence goes against him, and there are people who just want him to trap him in, but he's really innocent. And you know it, and you have a choice. Either you can save him by saying a lie, like you can always say that, okay, he was at my place and when the event occurred and everything, or holding on to your habit or your quality of not telling lies. You might just let things go as they are. And then Baba says that if in that moment you tell one lie to save this innocent, it is much better spiritually than holding on to the quality of not telling lies, because then you are just holding on to the ego, which is where you have this saying that, okay, I don't speak lies, whatever come may. Or you're given because you are saving somebody who is very innocent. And Baba says that even speaking a lie is actually spiritually good when it's for the highest benefit.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good example. Dinku, did you get that example?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, in other words, to lie in that case to save an innocent person would be honest in the highest sense, because it is the loving thing to do.
But then if you know that someone is doing something wrong, for example, and you're honest with them and you tell them, but they can't accept it. It hurts them that you've pointed it out to them. So would that be a bad thing? Or, how do you differentiate between the two?
Yeah. That's, well, for one thing, intuition is, you got to rely on intuition and not just a formula. But sometimes you can say to somebody and it does hurt them, but it hurts their ego.
Yeah.
and which is different from hurting their heart.
Okay.
But that means it's complicated. I mean, that means it's a subtle distinction. You know, hey, why don't you, clean up after you, I mean, you're leaving me with the mess.
Mm-hmm.
They might
Don't I know that?
They might feel hurt about that, but it's their pride that's getting hurt. It may not be hurting their heart.
Mm-hmm.
See, that may not hurt their heart because you're just irritating them and you're kind of making them come back and clean up after them. And it's not necessarily hurting their heart. You're kind of guilt tripping them, but not heart tripping them.
Okay. Yeah.
But I mean, these are all situational things, and you get a feel of it. What would hurt someone's heart, and what is just offending their ego.
I guess it's also the tone of your voice and the way you put it across.
Yeah. What's that?
Oh, nothing. My husband was talking to me. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. No, these are all, I mean, I think these are all finer tuning. Baba talks about right adjustment to others involves self-forgetfulness and love. I mean, they're getting the finer tuning in relation to other people. It is a whole lifetime's work.
Yeah,
But
I have to work very hard on that because I tend to be very blunt.
Yeah.
I think trying not to hurt others at the heart level probably is like saying, well, I don't like what you did, rather than saying, I don't like you. I mean, the difference between not liking the action as opposed to not liking the person. Not liking the person would definitely hurt him dearly at the heart.
Yeah.
But Prakash, those are two different things, isn't it? To not like a person and to not, you may like someone and not like something that they're doing.
Yes.
But to not like somebody for themselves is a different thing.
Yeah. That can hurt.
Yeah.
That definitely hurts.
Yeah. Like Gandhi said a beautiful thing where he said, condemn the action, but not the man.
Yeah, exactly.
If you can convey that you still love them, even though you don't like what they're doing, then you've done a great job. You've threaded the needle. But, Dinku, Erich was, very honest, but kind of outspoken. Probably like the way you're describing it. And Baba let him do that for a couple of years. And, he was Zoroastrian, so honesty was one of the major tenets. And one day Baba said, I'm paraphrasing, but Baba said, Erich, you're very honest, but your honesty sometimes hurts people. Your honesty is different from mine. And he said, the truth is that which uplifts another. Whatever crushes another person cannot be true. That line was said to Erich. The truth is that which uplifts another. If you say a truth and it brings somebody down, it may not have much of an effect. They may just become more resistant. As you probably have discovered with teenagers.
It's an ongoing process. It's not just the teens, it's way beyond.
Yeah. I may have told you this, so let me know, but there was one group that used to come to India on Amartithi when there would be, maybe 30,000 people. And they would all line up way back when they lined up the line went all the way down to the railroad tracks, you know. But this one group used to, from New York, that provided plays, and they were very talented. They would bring a show every Almertithi. But what they would do, since they had come so long, they would kind of get up to the front of the line. They wouldn't wait in line. They would kind of get in the front of the line. And they did this for years and years. And, you know, so one day the head of this group comes into the trust office and says, "Oh, Erich, is there anything we can do? Anything my group can do for you?" And Erich says, "Yes, there is something you could do." "Well, what is it?" "If you would just stand in line like everyone else and wait your turn and not break into the line." "Oh, of course, Erich, we won't do it anymore." And then a friend of mine was there, and he said to Erich, after they had left, he said, "Erich, they've been doing this for years. They've been doing this for the last 10 and 12 years. Why didn't you tell them 10 or 12 years ago?" And Erich said, "But they never asked."
Wow.
It won't have any good unless they ask. I mean, he knew that 10 or 12 years before. But if he'd made them do it back then, they would have been doing it for him, but they wouldn't have been doing it because it was the truthful, fair thing to do. You know, how is that going to be awakened? They would do it because they want to, they're considerate toward other people. Just
But they could also be, sorry, they could also be do it out of with a little bit of resentment.
Yeah, resentment, or, you know, or even Erich said, "I should do it, we should do it, so we'll do it." The lesson, the change of heart may not, I mean, he waited 10 years or so because there might have been a readiness for a change of heart. It has to be a change of heart. I mean, there are things that I know I could have said to people years and years ago, but I can't say, like, say somebody that talks all the time, and they're so talkative, and they kind of get a hold of the microphone and no one else gets to speak. And you could probably say that about me here. But, you know, it's only when they might come to me and say, "You know, somehow people just I don't feel people like me. They kind of keep a distance from me. And then when they see me coming, they kind of go the other way." When they come to me like that, I could say, and this is what Erich would say, "Well, maybe," this is the way Erich would say, "maybe you need to listen to what others have to say." But that's only when they're in that vulnerable moment, when they're receptive to something that might change their life for the better.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if you say, "Oh, why do you talk all the time?" You know, that's just not going, they'll just get defensive. So Erich was able to wait very patiently. But he wasn't when he was young.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's hard. There are a lot of things that we know about people long before they discover it for themselves. And people could, there are probably things that people are dying to tell me, but it's not my time. I wonder if Peter is there, or has he gone to sleep with Rumi, his dog?
I'm still here, Jeff. It's been amazing. Thank you so much.
Oh, really?
Everything's been so awesome tonight.
Well,
yeah.
Say hello to Rumi for us.
I will. If you see right now, I'm cuddling him.
Yeah.
It's just been so amazing. I'm just feeling like Baba's driving home these points I really need.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Good.
much.
Yeah, this is all. Yeah, a lot of. Well, folks, what do you think?
Great. Time for me to
Always
sleep.
love hearing you, Jeff.
Yeah.
It's such a pleasure.
Yeah. No, it's nice seeing you. And like I say, I'm just conveying stuff that I heard or asked questions about, and not only that, but I've had to work it through my own life and work it into my own system. And
one more thing which I found it challenging is that we know we kind of read and all that, but in that situation, to remember this, what would have pleased Papa, is something sometimes it just doesn't come, that thought, oh, I could have just forgiven, I just could have been more tactful in conveying. It just doesn't come. Like, you really need a lot of practice to put it in real life, what I've seen that, and remember all these qualities of which can help us and then use it in that situation.
yeah,
Sometimes our sanskaras drive it, and we know all this. Oh gosh, why couldn't I do that? I knew this would have been better. This would have pleased Papa.
yeah,
Why didn't this thought come to me? Oh gosh, that's like it happens. It happens many times. Like,
yeah,
we say, oh gosh, I could have just told them in a very polite way. And why did I have to this thing?
yeah,
I know that this thing, and you are like, just that sanskaras are so powerful that in that moment, certain times they just make you, I mean, they just over.
yeah. But they do teach you. Your mistakes are good lessons. If you don't make mistakes, you might not be making those changes in yourself. They keep goading you to get it right. You know, they're not, you kind of change your course. You know, you hit a shallow part of the river, and you got to go out toward the deeper water. You know, and nothing to feel so bad about that you don't improve. you know.
Sometimes that thought doesn't come. Like, you know it, you have read about it, you know that, okay, Papa, this thing what it is, and that very thing to strike at that moment when you're in that action.
Yeah.
This is something that it takes a lot of, means whatever we discuss, it has to get ingrained in the system much more deeper, and then that's one of the important things. I feel, get it ingrained into our system at a much deeper level.
Yeah. But like I say, every time you screw up, give that to Baba. Those are all gifts that you can give to Baba as well. So they're not just kind of useless mistakes. You know, that's, yeah. Hey, well, I'm gonna head off.
Thanks, Prakash.
Yeah. Good. Well, I'll be around on Tuesday.
Yes.
Baba willing. Yeah.
It was just stuck. It just wasn't moving further. So then I put it off and I started it again. I don't know if it's working or not. I'll have to check.
Jai Baba. Jai Baba.
Yeah.
Jai Baba.
See you, Prakash. See you, Nasrin.
Yes.